Yesterday we have read the foreword. Today we are going to read the preface. You might wonder what's the difference between foreword and preface. Foreword usually is written by someone else and about the book, and preface is like written by the author to introduce how this book comes into being. So let's read together. The Buddha's Discourses. By the way, is the text readable? I changed the size a little bit. For Xiaomei, it's too small, is it?
Yeah, yesterday was better. Did you do something to the size?
Yeah, I make it smaller so I can fit more text. So let me adjust.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Maybe I make it bigger first.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Is this one better? Okay. The Buddha's discourses preserved in the Pali Canon are called suttas, the Pali equivalent of the Sanskrit word sutras. Although the Pali Canon belongs to a particular Buddhist school, the Theravada or school of the elders, the sutta are by no means exclusively Theravada Buddhist texts. They stem from the earliest period of Buddhist literary history, a period lasting roughly 100 years after the Buddha's death. Before the original Buddhist community divided into different schools, the Pali Suttas have counterparts from other early Buddhist schools, now extinct, texts, sometimes strikingly similar to the Pali version, mainly in settings and arrangements, differing mainly in settings and arrangement, but not in points of doctrine. The suttas, along with their counterpart, thus constitute the most ancient records of the Buddha's teachings available to us. They're the closest we can come to what the historical Buddha Gautama himself actually taught. The teachings found in them have served as the fountainhead, the primal source for all the evolving streams of Buddhist doctrine and practice through the centuries. For this reason, they constitute the common heritage of the entire Buddhist tradition, and Buddhists of all schools who wish to understand the taproot of Buddhism should make a close and careful study of them a priority. Let me scroll back a little bit. Record. Ancient records of the Buddha's teachings. Okay, I think the most important line for this paragraph would be this one. The suttas and their counterparts constitute the most ancient records of the Buddha's teachings available to us. Oops. They are the closest we can come to what the historical Buddha Gautama himself actually taught. Oops. And for all the following evolving streams of Buddhist traditions, Buddhist doctrines and practice, usually the primal source is found in these earliest records, the suttas. Okay, any questions or comments? Let's read the next paragraph. Sister Billy, would you like to read?
In the Pali Canon, the Buddha's discourses are preserved in collections called Nikayas. Over the past 20 years, fresh translations of the 4 major Nikayas have appeared in print, issued in attractive and affordable editions. Wisdom Publications pioneered this development in 1987 when it published Maurice Walsh's translation of the Nikaya, the long discourses of the Buddha. Wisdom followed this precedent by bringing out in 1995 my revised and edited version of Bhikkhu Naramuli's handwritten translation of the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle-length discourses of the Buddha, followed in 2000 by a new translation of the complete Samyutta Nikaya, the connected discourses of the Buddha. In 1999, under the imprint of the Sacred Literature Trust series, Ultra Mira Press published an anthology of suttas and terminology of suttas from the Anguttara Nikaya, translated by the late Nyanaponika Thera and myself, titled Numerical Discourses of the Buddha. I'm currently working on a new translation of the entire Anguttara Nikaya, intended for Wisdom Publications teachings of the Buddha series.
Thanks, Sister Billy. Okay, this paragraph firstly started off to say that this collection of the most ancient records of the Buddha's teachings is called Nikayas. To make this clearer, let me show you what Bhikkhu Bodhi means. Let me share screen. Copy this as well. Okay, if you go to Amazon.com, there's this series called The Teachings of the Buddha. This is probably a little bit small. So if you see the cover that looks like this is usually a series of the Nikayas, although there are some additional titles like The Great Disciples of the Buddha. So, okay, let's take a look. How do I make this bigger? Let me zoom in like this. Maybe like this. The first one is the connect. This is not the first by chronology, but the first in this page. The connected discourses of the Buddha. This is called Samyutta Nikaya. This Nikayas, the contents inside is organized systematically. It's organized by topic. If you want a topic of, let's say, 5 hindrances, you can go to a chapter, not the 5 hindrances, the 5 aggregates, and then there'll be a chapter dedicated to it. So this book is organized systematically by topics. The second one, the middle length Majjhima Nikaya, is a collection of discourses where the sutta has generally the length is medium length. Why is it medium compared to what is it considered medium length? When you compare it to the long discourses of the Buddha, which is one sutta can take like many pages, like maybe 50 plus pages. Yeah. So this is called the long discourses of the Buddha, Digha Nikaya. Digha means long. In comparison, Majjhima Nikaya, the sutta is usually around maybe 5 to 10 pages. Yeah. So this length is medium compared to the long discourses, where it can take up to 50 pages or more. And the one we are currently reading, in the Buddha's words, an anthology. What is an anthology? A collection or a curated list selected suttas and then pick together into a collection. This one is Great Disciples of the Buddha, talking about the lives of the disciples of the Buddha, notable disciples of the Buddha. And this one, Numerical Discourses of the Buddha, Anguttara Nikaya, was the sutta that Shifu was going through, if you still can recall. This sutta is organized by numbers. So if you want to look any sutta related to the number ones, you will have Book of Ones. If the sutta content has two components, then you can look for Book of Twos. And any suttas with 3 components inside, then you can look for Book of Threes. So on and so forth, Book of 4, Book of 5, until Book of 10 or 11, something around there. And this one is the Buddha's teachings, a collection of teachings, collection of sutta about social and communal harmony. This one is the Sutta Nipata, an ancient collection. Yeah. But the main one is usually just this 4. Connected Discourse, Samyutta Nikaya. Middle Length, Majjhima Nikaya. Long Discourses, Digha Nikaya. And Numerical Discourses, Anguttara Nikaya. Yeah. These 4 alone is already, you can read this for your whole lifetime, yeah, if you're really interested in studying the Dhamma. Okay, let's go back to our reading. Okay, let's continue reading, Sister Saikya.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Many who have read these larger works have told me, to my satisfaction, that the translations brought the suttas to life for them. Yet others, who earnestly sought to enter the deep ocean of the Nikayas, told me something else. They said that while the language of the translation made them far more accessible than earlier translations, they were still grappling for a standpoint from which to see the sutta's overall structure, a framework within which they all fit together. The Nikayas themselves do not offer much help in this respect for their arrangement, with the notable exception of the Samyutta Nikaya, which does have a thematic structure, appears almost hazard.
Yeah, thanks, Sister Saikya. Yeah, so if people really want to study the Dhamma and they dive in directly into the Nikayas, they might get confused. Like, oh, why is the sutta talking about this? Why is there no systematic structure? With the exception of Samyutta Nikaya, it has I explained, have a thematic structure, appears almost haphazard. Let's define haphazard here. Lacking any obvious principle of organization. And then, yeah, firstly, let's define, does the dictionary say about anthology? A published collection of poems or other pieces of writing. A published collection of songs or musical compositions issued in one album. So it's more of a first definition. Okay. Sister Aikim, would you like to read?
In an ongoing series of lectures, I began giving at Bodhi Monastery in New Jersey in January 2003. I devised a scheme of my own to organize the contents of the Majjhima Nikaya. This scheme unfolds the Buddha's message progressively from the simple to the difficult, from the elementary to the profound. Upon reflection, I saw that this scheme could be applied not only to the Majjhima Nikaya, but to the four Nikayas as a whole. The present book organizes sutta selected from all four Nikayas within this thematic and progressive framework.
Okay, thanks, Sister Aikim. This one, let me show you what Bhikkhu Bodhi means very quickly. This series of lecture by Bhikkhu Bodhi is actually available online. So yeah, again, if you're really keen to study, this will be a very good start. So let me share it very quickly. In the Bodhi Monastery website, you can see this. Exploring the Word of Buddha taught by Bhikkhu Bodhi over 5 years. January 2003 to 2007. Yeah, so that should be 5 years. Syllabus for systematic study of the Majjhima Nikaya. And if you scroll down, you can see this first chapter, the Buddha's enlightenment, and then you can find what are the suttas covered, and also the lectures in the form of audios. This lecture for this sutta, part 1, part 2, part 1, and part 2. And some sutta, some important sutta, he can cover it up to 10 audios, so 10 lectures just for one sutta. Shows how in-depth he really goes when covering the sutta. And let me paste this thing in the chat as well. Interested. Okay, let's read one more paragraph before we end for today. Sister Shomi, would you like to read? You're muted.
This book is intended for two types of readers. The first are those not yet acquainted with the Buddha's discourses, who feel the need for a systematic introduction. For such readers, any of the Nikayas is bound to appear opaque. All four of them viewed at once may seem like a jungle, entangling and bewildering, full of unknown beasts, or like the great ocean, vast, tumultuous, and forbidding. I hope that this book will serve as a map to help them wend their way through the jungle of the sutras, or a sturdy ship to carry them across the ocean of the Dharma. The second type of readers for whom this book is meant are those already acquainted with the sutras, who still cannot see how they fit together into an intelligible whole. For such readers, individual sutras may be comprehensible in themselves, but the texts in their totality appear like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle scattered across a table. Once one understands the scheme in this book, one should come away with a clear idea of the architecture of the teaching. Then, with a reflection, one should be able to determine the place any sutta occupies in the edifice of the Dharma, whether or not it has been included in this anthology.
Thanks, Sister Shomi. So here, the point is, whoever feels the need of a systematic introduction, for readers who really want to dive into the Nikayas, this serves as a systematic introduction to them. Even for the second type of reader who are already acquainted with the sutta, we also want to see how they fit together into an intelligible whole. When we understand the scheme in this book, we should come away with a clear idea of the architecture of the teaching. Okay, that should suffice for today. Any questions or comments? If not, let's do dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。Amitabha. Do we again? Do we be
Okay.
guided by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a systematic Wednesday ahead. Thanks, everyone.
you.
See you guys next time.